All right, good afternoon, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. My name is Life Coach Joseph F. Price. You are in the Porn-Free, Porn Clean Men's Health Club. This is going to be episode number 1, and it's kind of going to be an overview about what's in store and what we're going to do in the podcast. So I appreciate the fact that you're here. It's really an honor that you're here on this first podcast. So as we get things together, I'm going to try to do the best that we can. Here we go. So I want to thank the gentleman that was so gracious in providing us the background music, Mr. Juma King, Juma I King, Jumaiking. You can probably look him up on the web. Some pretty funky music in the background. He's just doing some freestyling, doing some mixing, doing some playing of some instruments, etc., etc., etc. So that's not what we're here to do, but we are here to talk about health, men's health, your health. And we're really here to talk about it in the context of you being porn-free. As that's a process, it's a journey, and it's a lifestyle. So this podcast is going to meet you wherever you are in that particular journey. I don't know where you are in that journey. I have no idea. But wherever you are, we're going to try to keep something here for you each and every time that you're here, that you're actually going to be fed. That's our objective. So more than likely, this is not the first podcast that you're going to listen to of mine. As a matter of fact, I didn't do this as number 1, but the intention of it is for it to be number 1. So assuming that this is not your first podcast, this is really like a podcast that you'd come back to as a foundational podcast. And it's also a podcast where we're going to outline what it is that we're here to do in this particular podcast. So that's basically my intentions here. And also, I guess I get to tell one of those juicy stories, if you will, which I call my porn story. Everybody has their own porn story, especially people that are involved. So that's one of the things that we're going to be doing today. Give me a second. But as you know, I think about what it is that I'm here to accomplish in this particular podcast. Because I sat on this particular podcast and what I wanted to do for a couple of days in terms of what it is that I want to do in this podcast. And so, first of all, this podcast has no intention of being like the only place that you're going to go to for information. I don't expect it to be the only place, and would really be sad if it was. And I don't think that this would be a place that this is the only place that you're going to get good information. But I will try to make this particular podcast a podcast that you put on your top podcasts in terms of actual value. That's something that we're going to do deliberate with intention, because of the fact that there's so many different things vying for your attention today that we want to be extremely respectful of making sure that we are doing the best that we can by you as far as your time is concerned. So that being said, I happen to have been a life coach for like years, like I think about 20 years. I don't even remember when I started. So I have a lot of contacts. I've been doing recovery coaching for about 3 years. So I have a lot of contacts in recovery coaching as well. So we're going to have an assortment of guests to help you along in your journey, because I don't think, once again, that I'm going to be that source that's going to, that I know everything. But what I'm going to try to do is to bring information to you that's going to be able to serve you. And once again, anything that I know, for the most part, 90% of it is really something that somebody taught me. It's not something that I just made up or anything like that. 90% of it is something somebody taught me, and probably 10% of it is something somebody taught me, and I figured out a way to simplify it to make it easier for you to understand. So that's pretty much what we're intending to do here. I've got a lot of guests that we're going to have on, addiction professionals. There's a lot of complexities with regard to pornography and sexual addiction, a lot of different components. So we're going to have experts that talk on the different components. One of the things a lot of times people miss when they think about addictions and porn and sex addiction, more specifically, it affects other people. And this addiction does affect other people. And actually, it affects other people in ways that are way beyond anything that anybody can imagine. And so the word, in one word, is called betrayal trauma. And it's something that the spouses of porn addicts face. And most porn addicts have no concept of that, or sex addicts. They don't even get it. So we're going to talk about that. And when we talk about like recovery and getting better, one of the things that happens is, first of all, the whole addiction process, the addiction cycle, that's an unconscious, it's a deliberate unconscious process that you have no idea of what's going on because it's unconscious. And then the addiction itself is an unconscious process that you don't have any idea of what it is or what is going on. So one of the first things that happens, or has to happen, in order for somebody to have some sense of recovery, is that their awareness has to rise. Their awareness, first of all, of themselves, their awareness in their relationship to their specific addiction, and then their awareness to implementing and maintaining some new behavior strategies. So the awareness is really at the floor level. With addictions, you're going to find that like inherently, and it is. So the awareness level has to increase, and then from that, then a person has to learn a bunch of new different behavior strategies, and then a person has to address healing themselves from things that has hurt them, as well as healing themselves from their own personal self-hurt, as well as healing the relationships in their lives that they've injured. And then a person has to move towards, I guess, what we're really here to do, which is to do something magnificent, to actually engage and live in a purposeful life. And that's usually what happens in addiction recovery. A person becomes aware, they become super aware, the addiction itself becomes intolerable, they learn, how should I say it? Self-mastery strategies with relationship to the addiction. They get supremacy over their behavior, and then they heal inner wounds, and they heal external wounds, which are people that they've hurt. And then they do something fantastic with their life. If you've ever seen anybody who is a recovering addict from anything, you're going to see those three components. They got better at self-mastery. They heal. They fix stuff that they fix that mess that they created. And then they went on to do something fantastic. In a lot of cases, that something fantastic was something that had to do with giving to others. But those components exist. So that's really the paradigm that this podcast is really about. It's about addressing those various areas, which is raising your awareness, learning self-mastery strategies, learning how to heal, learning what is it you need to heal from, learning how to take the steps to heal, taking the steps to fix things, fix situations, fix the ugliness and the dirtiness, and do the restoration in our life, and then go out there and do something magnificent like we were supposed to do. All that we've been avoiding through the addiction for all those years. That's really what recovery is about. And anything less than that is bullshit. And that's what people are doing, like, just sitting around trying not to abuse a substance, or trying not to do porn, or trying not to act out in one way, shape, or form. And it's all about not doing the very thing that you don't want to do. So when you focus 100% on something, what happens? You do it, ultimately. So recovery is about becoming healthy and focusing on that and allowing it to catch up with you. And, first of all, most people, I think, have no clue of what recovery is about, because they don't really want to do that first step, which is, to raise their awareness. So therefore, they're just trying not to do it. Trying not to do it, trying not to do it, trying not to do it, trying not to do it. And eventually, think of that as like a muscle, and you wear out. But I guess what they're trying not to do is, I'm going to try not to do it for 10 days. Oh, maybe if I get past 10 days, I'll try it for 30 days. Maybe if they get past 30 days, maybe I'll try it for 60 days. I don't know. I might relapse. I mean, like, that's their recovery strategy. And they're trying to prevent the next time that they're going to relapse. Some of them can't make it past 5 days. Some of them can't make it past 20 days. Some of them 90 days. It's usually like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20, 30, something like that. And then so what they've done is, like, after 5 or 6 years of doing that, they've developed what I'm calling a streak mentality. So they're chasing after a streak. Man, I'm talking about healing. I'm talking about life. I'm talking about enjoying life. And they're talking about a streak. A 5-day streak, or a 10-day streak, or a 30-day streak. Man, you crazy. And I'm going to tell you just like that. Yeah, you're crazy. It's a mental health disorder, sexual addiction, and porn addiction. And chasing after a streak is part of what I call the pornified mentality. And that's what this podcast is really about, helping you dispense with the pornified mentality. The pornified mentality is just the mentality that's associated with the sex addiction, the porn addiction. It's basically another way put, a non-mastered mentality, non-mastery mentality. So where we're going is we're going to a place where you become about mastery in every area of your life. That's what I'm about. Mastery in every area of your life. And so this whole pornography and all this sex addiction stuff and being run by your dick, see, there's no mastery there. And so what we're talking about and what we're trying to do here is mastery. Mastery is something, it's not achieved overnight. It's something that it's deliberately achieved, and it's methodically achieved, and it's achieved intentionally, step by step. And so it's not achieved by chasing after a streak. That's just like a rinse and repeat losing strategy. And basically, unfortunately, that's the strategy that all too often so many people are trying to do, not do it the next time. Or if they're fortunate, they're chasing after a streak. And so that becomes the entire mentality of them trying to recover. And maybe they give up. If they're lucky or blessed, maybe they run into somebody that can help them to do this journey deliberately, and methodically and piece by piece. Because the thing that's so funny is that, as I said, the pornified mind, and the pornified mind is the same as, we can turn that around and call it the addicted mind. So what we want to do, and I'll just back up and just throw a little wisdom. See, Einstein years ago said the same kind of thinking that caused the problem is not going to be the kind of thinking that's going to get the solution. So, in other words, if you're coming from a certain place and you cause a certain result, or you fuck up something, you're not going to be able to fix it with that same mentality. You're going to have to shift the mentality to fix it up. So fucked up mentality will create fucked up. Mastery mentality will create something that's a masterpiece. You see the difference? And so the conversation that we're having here is about mastery, and all that streak and trying to avoid the next time. That's not what we're doing. Because first of all, getting better and getting healthier, and if you really got a problem, it didn't happen overnight, so you're not going to fix it overnight. But it's the addictive mindset, and what I'm always going to call the pornified mindset, that causes you to think that, oh, I'm just going to pull my dick out and shake it a fucking few times and look at some porn, and then some foam is going to come out, and then I'm going to feel good. Life's going to be well. See, real life doesn't work like that, okay? And it doesn't work like that. And I just stopped by to say that that's silly. And somehow, in the pornified mindset, that's what they do every day, It's what they do. And it's not working. And then, because it's been done for so long, people expect to use that same kind of mentality to fix the situation. Oh, I just pulled it out and shake it a few times and look at this. No. And another thing, they got that porn free. They got the porn free. It didn't cost. They didn't have to pay for the free porn. They didn't have to pay for it. You didn't have to pay for it. You just type in and you get porn. And here's a little secret. This is Joey P. This is not the president talking, okay? This is Joey. Here's the secret. Recovery's not free. Recovery's when you pay for that porn that you thought was free. Again, recovery's not free. Recovery is when you pay for that free porn. So, what has happened so often through watching free porn is that, your point of view about the world has been shifted unbeknownst to you in more ways than you're aware of. And so and that's what the pornified mind is, the addicted mind, the behavior of the addicted mind, how you think that you're going to just solve this, and how you think that, taking a cold shower is a strategy that's going to help you heal, and how chasing after the next day is healing. That's not what it is. Look, that's not what I'm here to talk to you about. That's not what we're doing here. What we're talking about here in the conversation that we're having is we're having a conversation about you creating a magnificent life and doing something fantastic with yourself. And this bullshit about watching porn for a couple hours and all that nonsense and this and that and the other. Now, we're not talking about that because that doesn't fit in the picture of what fantasticness is. It just doesn't fit at all. And then for the people that are married, come on, man. And if you had any idea, because I don't have enough time today to talk about what betrayal trauma is and how it affects the woman and how many different families have been destroyed by a wife finding out that the husband does porn. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you right fast and right slick and right quick. The thing that the wives really are bothered with more than anything else is not necessarily the man doing the porn, but the thing is that porn addicts lie, and they lie their ass off. And what happens is when the woman finds out, they also find out that there's a trail of lies. And that's what usually bothers them the most. But see, the thing is, the porn addict is in the pornified mind lies because he wants to avoid reality. So the lie is the gateway to avoid the reality, because that's, again, the pornified mindset. It's all about embracing reality. What is porn but some phony shit? You looking at somebody else's getting busy. You not getting busy. You not getting any of that. So the best that you can do, and the best that people do, is they simulate. You know what I'm talking about, simulate. I think they call that masturbate. So that's a little something about what we're here to do. So if I may, I'm going to come back and then I'm going to do part 2. And in part 2, you get to hear the juicy details about me and how I got to be here, and my relationship or past relationship with porn. So you are in the right zone. You're with Coach Joseph F. Price, and we are in the Porn Clean Men's Health Club. I'll be back in a moment.